Hello and welcome. My name is Gabor and this is the Polyglot's Paradise podcast, where I bring you exciting language learners from all walks of life who learn languages with various methods, everybody in their own ways. We would like to show you that language learning is way more than just cramming grammar and vocabulary and working with boring textbooks. Learning languages is much more about making new connections and developing new ways of thinking, even multiplying your identities as you acquire these languages. Speaking of connections, today I'm going to make an interview with Paul, my language exchange friend with whom we met on Tandem, the language exchange app, and we've been chatting in German and Hungarian for 3 years now. We will talk about why Hungarian can be an exciting language to learn and also what its pitfalls and difficulties are. And as there is a lot of things to learn in every new language, we will discuss what helps us the most to internalize so much knowledge. Also, we'll say a few words about how the ZEN spirit of practice helps us to do this. And finally, we'll try to hit upon whether there is a best method or to learn a language or what the most important thing is about learning a new language successfully and with enjoyment. So I'm glad you're here and let's start the interview. We met in a quite exciting way through Tandem, the language exchange app.
What is exciting about that? I don't think it was so exciting, wasn't it?
Actually, for me, what was exciting was that I had been struggling on Tandem for months before to find a language exchange partner. And I remember Gota and I had just got off our trains in Graz. We were on a holiday. We were volunteering at that time. And I looked at my phone. There was a Tandem notification saying that you texted me. I said, wow, that's interesting. Finally, I've got a language exchange partner. We'll see what it's like. And then when we had our first chat, I thought, wow, this is going to be great.
Yeah, it was, to me, it was like this. I also, like you, had a lot of trial and error and try to find someone who suits the needs of a language learning app. And I saw your picture. I just saw your picture and your description and English teacher and your picture sitting in the garden and you like nature,
Wow.
you like this and those. And wow, that's the man. I want this guy.
Wow.
Yeah, that was like that. And so I tried it, but you was on holiday and so, but yes, in the end it worked and we met each other and that was a great thing. So
yeah, I think so too. Yeah. So you said it's quite it can be quite challenging to find a language exchange partner. What do you think makes one?
Yeah, I think a lot of exchange partners don't really understand what it's about being a language exchange partner. That was my experience, at least. So that people tell you, oh, you're Hungarian. So I learned Hungarian, by the way. So that people say, oh, you're Hungarian is so great, and tell more. And yes, but I don't learn anything. If someone tells me how great I am, I don't need this. Or tell me about your life. And so after weeks of conversation, in the end, okay, this guy likes to sit in the garden in summer, but he knows all of your life, and somehow that's strange. I think what you need to understand, or what people need to understand, is that basically, if we talk about language exchange, it's kind of a business, because I want to learn something and you want to learn something, or you want to practice. And so we help each other to practice. Yeah. And to me, it was important, or the most important thing, that if I talk to someone, it's not that I think, what can I get from this person, but also what will this person get from me? Am I a good language exchange partner? And in the practical sense, whenever I talk to someone, I think, was I able to give this person a little gift? Is this guy a bit richer than he has before we talked? And so I think that's how it works. It is a change. You give something to me, I give something to you. And from this point on, there a lot can happen, and friendships can evolve or develop. But the basic idea of language exchange is, what did I get from you and what do you get from me? It's a kind of a business. And so if you talk to someone and he doesn't give you anything and just talks or wants something, or so it's not a language
Well,
exchange.
yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Partly it's about the language awareness. So if I can see the other person's skills as a language learner, and if I'm able to help them develop in any way, if I know anything that they don't know.
Yeah.
On the other hand, there's also the other personalities, which either match or don't match, or the interests.
Of course, but I think that's something you don't have any influence. So if you like someone or someone likes you, that's something that happens. That's like it is. You can't change that.
Yeah.
But what you can change is, am I a good partner to talk to?
Yeah, I think
and then
so.
it will, or is the other person a good partner I can talk to? And if not, so be ruthless and change this person. Be friendly, but it doesn't make any sense to talk for weeks and weeks and learn nothing. That's not well.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
people give an hour of their lifetime to you, and so you should reward it somehow.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Yeah.
And it can grow from there naturally.
Yeah.
We usually divide the time, so we speak in Hungarian in the first 30 minutes and then German in the second part of each 60-minute session. How has this arrangement worked out for you?
I think that's the arrangement that is usually what most people do, and that the person who does not whose language skills are not the best start, and then when this person is done and can't concentrate anymore, then you switch language. So that's quite good. To me, it's hard to start in Hungarian sometimes because, but I think that's natural too.
What I enjoy the most, though, is when there's an overlap between the Hungarian and the German part, and we tend to switch from one language into the other every second, and comparing, to contrasting phrases, checking whether one phrase exists in the other language. So at some point in your life, you decided to learn Hungarian. Where did the idea come from, and what motivated you to continue until now?
To be serious, it was kind of not an accident. After in the 1990s, I traveled to Hungary, and it was the first country I visited in the former Warsaw.
Yes,
Warsaw Treaty, no? That's you call it. And so to me, as a West German, it was there was the border, and behind the border there was the tiger until the Pacific Ocean, and there was nothing. Atom bombs and strange people in strange uniforms, and because we all had we had propaganda in the West as well, so I had no idea what was.
So did we on the other side of the fence.
That's how it is. And so when I came to Budapest first time, I was stunned. I saw the parliament. I remember I came over Florian Tér and then traveled the Rakpart and saw the parliament and saw the bridges and the Gellérthegy, and I was completely stunned. And what was more, I was accompanied by someone I came to know, a nice person, and I needed to stay in contact with her. So I asked her to teach me Hungarian. And one third thing was that all my life, I'm very interested in languages. That fascinated me. And so seeing this language, I had no clue what it means, what it is. Like, see everyone, there's a pharmacy, pharmacia. But in Hungary, it's gyógyszertár. It's
yes, it's a completely different word.
I have no idea what this means.
Unrelated to most European languages.
And so it was kind of, okay, I have to understand this thing. I need to know what it's all about. It was, and so
it was
this combination,
like a mystery.
Yeah, and this combination about the personal thing, the language I needed to get somehow, and the culture I saw and was completely stunned of, and this combination made me learning Hungarian. So, and then I learned it for a couple of years, and then somehow it stopped, and now 3 years ago I started again.
So in that sense, you woke up your Hungarian after a long slumber?
Yes, and so I didn't use it for about 20 years or so, because life changed and it was kind of past. And then I had learned it to a point where I could read it, but not really speak it because there was no internet then, so it was not so easy
Sure.
to develop speaking skills or listening skills. So it was like Latin, just language I read. And then 3 years ago, I decided to start again. And it was by accident. I read some Hungarian article and found out, oh, it still works. Great, cool. And
Yeah.
so I thought, okay, I want to know it. I want to be able to communicate in Hungarian. And so I started again learning communicating in Hungarian.
Okay. Yeah, sounds great. And as you were developing your Hungarian, what did you find the most challenging?
So then, 30 years ago, the most challenging thing was the strangeness of the language. So the vocabulary, because you have words like érdemes, érdekes, értelmes, értékes
Mhm.
that are, if you are no idea what it means, they all sound the same.
Yeah,
And so,
but they are quite like words like prevent, protest, protect uh, to my students who are learning English.
yes, I can imagine this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I
but for
can
me
relate to that.
as an Indo-European speaker, that was absolute like a primitive syllable reitwing them.
Yeah, exactly. Like a puzzle.
Yes, and so that was hard. But now, when you once you understood the logic of Hungarian word building, it's very logic indeed. So you can see a word you've never seen before, and a lot of
Mhm.
times you understand what it means because the word describes what it means. So Hungarian
Oh, I
is very
see.
logic there, but you need to understand the word building first. And now is what is hardest now is that often there are structures in Hungarian. Once again,
Hmm.
there are structures in Hungarian that are extremely logic. You could use it as a programming tool for computers, I think. And
Right.
but then there are absolute no structures. There's just habit. That's just how it is used, and it
Hmm.
sometimes
I
feels
see.
like if God would have poured out a box of grammatical forms on earth and said, "Ime is on
I see.
and
So
and how what you do with them,
just
it's like,
empty the box onto a table with all those
yes,
puzzle pieces and do what you want with them.
you do with these things? And so that's a
Yeah.
lot of habit you need to develop to
Mm,
get the to know which tool to use for which in which situation.
absolutely.
Yeah.
As a native speaker of Hungarian, I would think the suffixation is a major challenge for learners of my language. Is that true? So
I
adding multiple endings to a word.
No, I don't think so. It's not so hard. So in people always say, "Oh, Hungarian with its 18 cases," but I think that's a misconception of being hard because in Indo-European languages you have the cases, but the cases affect the noun, the adjective, the
Hmm.
article, and so you have
Exactly.
this, and then you have the sexes, male, female, and neutral, and
Yes.
so it's a huge amount of forms you have to learn in Hungarian. There are no sexes, there's no adjective cases
That,
on the adjectives.
yeah.
It's absolutely easy to handle this thing. I think what is hard in Hungarian is to get used to the idea of um, transitive situations like
Hmm.
akarok készülni a szobából, vagy akarok készülni a szobával, vagy akarom készíteni a szobát.
Exactly. We've
And
got verb conjugations different for these two aspects.
igen, and that has an influence on the whole sentence. And to get along with this, I
That's
think
true.
if you don't feel it naturally, that is quite hard. And I think I often do it wrong.
Mm. I think it's quite hard to learn instinctively.
Yeah, it's
So,
absolutely logic again, but this
mhm.
is it's a question of habit of being used to it.
Yeah, totally. So, how do you tackle these challenges in Hungarian? Do you have a mindset that helps you understand these features better?
No, I struggled for a long time, and yes, I developed a mindset, of course. But I think what is the clue, the thing what makes it possible is learning whole sentences. I think
Yes.
that's the key for it because if you learn words or if you learn grammar, um, it's it doesn't work this way. Yeah, I think it's what is important about this is that you learn sentences, just sentences, because um, especially with this transitive, intransitive stuff, you have to feel what you do, and
Yes.
you have to develop a feeling for that, and you can learn vocabulary, and lots of people say vocabulary plus grammar, that's a language, but that
Mhm.
is not true, I believe.
No, I don't think so either.
I think
There's a lot more to it.
yes, we already or talked we often talked about
Yes.
this that studies show that there's a language like American English, and but there's American English and British English. And in American, you have perhaps Black English. Blacks tend to speak a different
Mhm.
way than whites speak. Uh, Professors tend to speak in a different way than factory workers speak, and
Yeah, and
even
not
the
to
Black
mention the
society
countless accents that there are in British English.
accents. So grammar is some moving thing, moving through the times, through the centuries,
Mhm.
moving through social classes, through even
Absolutely.
individuals speak differently. And so it's about words and habits, how to use the words. And I think
Mhm.
grammar just describes those habits. It's a main description of the habits that most of the speakers of a language use. I think that's
Right.
what grammar is.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
and so to get you, if you want to speak uh, on a if you want to speak the language naturally, if that feels naturally, you have to understand it not as vocabulary plus grammar. You have to understand it as habits, developing habits. And so you need, for example, if you have a sentence like, oh, I wrote it down for the
Um, Actually, I'm really happy you touched upon this topic because this is the core message I would like to convey with this podcast to our listeners. That language doesn't mean vocabulary and grammar. It means so we are looking for a way how to live the language instead of just learning it.
yeah.
And this happens through these tiny habits through which it enters your life and becomes personal.
Okay, we were talking about why it is a good thing to um, to learn sentences. That's what I
Yes.
wanted to explain that. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a good thing to use to learn whole sentences to get a feeling for the thing. So, for example, the sentence if you once I learned is was "Nelet maar ian busgo mojing," and now you can learn this and you can say, okay, why is it Ian? Couldn't it be Oyan, for example? But you
That's
can
true.
say "Nelet maar Oyan shuni."
Yeah, so you can
So
learn variations.
and so you have those two sentences, and suddenly it becomes apparent or clear why it should be Ian Busgomojing and Oyan Shunyi. Mert Oyan shows distance, and Ian
Yes.
shows you're feeling close. And so you say Nelej Mar Ian
Yeah.
Busgomojing.
And
And
I
you couldn't
think
say
it,
Nelej Mar Ian Shunyi. It would sound dull, I guess.
well, you could say that, but that would indicate a smaller distance.
Yeah.
So,
But so it shows that it's not just about grammar, because from a standpoint of grammar you could use both sentences, both
mhm,
would be correct, but the feeling of the sentences is different. And so
exactly.
and to learn whole sentences makes you not only learn words and grammar but learning the feeling of it too.
I think so. I couldn't say that better.
Yeah.
And also, when you learn these sentences, you surely get them from somewhere. So maybe you heard them in a movie or in real life, so you can immediately relate it to a real life situation you've been part of or something that has touched you deeply.
Yeah. And you can if you learn sentences you have some structure, a model, a structure, yes, and
Mhm.
you can use and you can change um, like the sentence "Alaposh ishmeretaket serzet," or that's wrong. Like the sentence "Alaposh ishmeretaket serzet," or "Magyar történelem ben." You can
Mhm.
use it and say, okay, "Alaposh ishmeretaket serzet," or "Kocsi javításban," vagy ilyesmi.
Exactly. So that is a chunk, basically.
Yes, and that's it. So you can play with sentences, and that makes you it's a base to go from.
Yeah, just so that I also mention an example, I wrote out to myself, es stellt eine Herausforderung dar.
Yes,
And
that's it.
previously I always said, es ist eine Herausforderung.
Yeah.
And how much nicer it is to use the natural chunk that Germans would also use.
Yes. Yes.
Or another one which puzzles me all the time is es geht mich gar nichts an. And they very often do it wrong.
But
Es geht mich gar nichts.
That's not only in German hard. Now you said this. Actually, at this time, right now, I'm learning those variations in Hungarian too. They are really, really tough because there are so many variations. I think that's a sentence that is in every language somehow.
I think so.
Strange.
And funnily, this phrase fell into place for me when I heard it in a film as well. So not just from you, but also in a film, and I could compare the two situations.
Yeah, that's important. Huh?
Yeah. So now I feel that I've got it. So I can probably use it also in a real conversation.
Cool.
Right. So as I said, in German, these chunks and natural turns of speech are a constant problem for me, and this is what I'm working on mainly. And in Japanese, there's one more feature that drives me crazy. That is that there are tons of homophones in the language.
Mm-hmm.
So if I just say hashi, it can mean chopsticks and bridge at the same time, and a few other things.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the pitch accent that helps. So one is hashi, and the other one is hashi.
Mm.
But they always mix up which is which.
Okay.
Not to mention the kanji characters themselves. But if so, the mindset which helps me tackle Japanese is that I learn it visually. So I always visualize the kanji character itself when I use the word.
And you connect the character with the idea of the word, or how
Exactly.
do you do that?
Yes. But there's also a way to learn kanji through creating a story around its elements.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's a word which means to prepare, and in the kanji characters there are elements meaning collect, ten, grass, people, use, and then I think Goto and I came up with the idea of 10 people are preparing to smoke weed and they gather and it's very useful for them or something like that. It's a completely crazy story.
Great. Yeah, but that's the most important thing. I think that's what we as humans, we are some social creatures, and we tend to find connections and relations to everything.
Yeah.
Like we have to persons, we have relation to persons, we have relations to words,
Yes.
and we put everything into relations. And I think that's the most that's just our mindset as humans, as tribal animals, to put everything in a relation, and so put words into relations, put stuff into relation, make words friends with each other.
And sadly, this is something that language learners don't often become aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So we just learn words as something distant. We learn the word and its translation very often. So,
yes.
so many traditional learners who learn in traditional settings like classrooms and language courses are still presented this age-old way of mastering vocabulary. While, as you said, relationships matter a lot, and it's coded deeper in us than surface level learning.
Yes, I think that's the most important thing at all, to understand this thing of that everything is in relation to each other. There's a quite interesting book I heard of. It is called Fast Thinking and Slow Thinking by guy called Kahneman. He's a
yes.
sociologist.
Okay.
Genau, that's what he is. And he describes that there are two ways of thinking in humans. First one is the slow thinking, the logical thinking that we used to use when we learn, analysis, logic, and stuff like that, grammar, vocabulary learning, and that is very slow happen. And there's the other thing, like the fast thinking. That's more the intuition. In English, they call it the mammal brain, because we have it in common with all the animals. It's just by experience, fueled by experience. I've seen this before. That's good. So it's like when you meet someone and you know he's a cool guy and everyone loves him. You see him and I don't like him. So you don't know why, but you just, that's it. And this is very important, because if we are afraid, then our logical thinking is switched off, and our mammal brain, this fast intuition takes into place. So if you're afraid,
Exactly.
like imagine yourself being in the forest at night and you hear some crack in the bushes, and what do you think? Now we would think, okay, what might it be? Might it be some evil person? Why should he sit in the forest at night? He probably wouldn't do it. So it should be an animal, a tiger. No, they don't live in Central Europe, and so on. That's
Yeah.
logical thing. Very moment, what you think is, oh, damn, run, and then you run, and that's fast thinking. And the moment you are afraid, the slow thinking is just shut off, and you and so when people talk to native speakers, and lots, I think that's a common experience. You talk to someone, you're afraid if you do well, and suddenly you don't know anything anymore. Everything you've learned is just gone. It's away.
Exactly. So
And that's this principle. You're afraid, and the logical thinking is shut off, and all you've learned is gone. And that's why it's important to learn in a different way, by make it your own, make the things like, it's like walking, you know. If you walk, I think now I want to drink something, I'm going to the fridge, and I just thinking it, and my feet walk by themselves. I don't apply anything. I don't see,
yes.
oh, that's something I utilize. I it just happens. It's part of me, that walking. It's not a skill I execute, or my
Yeah, and doesn't it
language.
happen in the same way that when we get text messages from various language partners, that we don't notice that we are responding in a foreign language?
Yeah. But that means that you have internalized the stuff. If you're in distress, and if it's a hectic, it's a panic situation, and you can use the language, that means that it is, you have got it to a point that it is not something you apply. It is something that is inside you. This has become part
Yes,
of your fast thinking, and I think that is important
yes,
to reach that point,
yes.
and
And I
that should
think
be the
that
goal.
links up very well with another topic that we very often mention. So, how do we get to the point that we internalize such a skill which needs, which requires that we remember so much lexical stuff?
You know, to me personally, it is just a very simple thing. It's all about repetition,
Yes.
repetition, repetition, repetition. It's repetition. It was your newsletter a couple of weeks ago. You wrote that you need 17. You need to remember
Yes, I
something
must
correctly
check
17
this
times.
fact because I'm not sure where I found it, but I'm quite sure I've heard it somewhere that 17 repetitions are necessary until a word becomes completely ingrained in our
Hmm.
memories.
And that, I think that's what it's about. That it's like this Zen thing, in the
Mhm.
Eastern Zen thing. So in Europe, we tend to think we learn the stuff from the book, then we know it, then we can use it. But I think that's not true. It's this, rather this, do it and do it again and do it again. And
Yes.
when you ask, oh, but I don't understand why I do it. So do it once again until you will understand why. And
Probably
I,
that's something we Europeans find very hard to accept, that we have to do something without understanding why we do it.
but how did we learn walking, talking, and all the stuff we do? Just by repetition, repetition,
That's true.
repetition, and that's it. There's a cool story I heard that was it's about some martial art master, and the boy comes to him and says, "Oh, you do this move. Please show me this move." And the martial arts master say, "No, I won't. You are not ready for this yet." "Oh, please show me this move. It's so great. I would die to learn this move." And no, you're not ready for that. "Oh man, I just learned this martial arts because I want to do the move like you do." "Okay," says the master. "Okay, but know this. This move only will be useful to you the day you will be able to do it faster, faster than you can decide to do it." And I think that's what it's about. It's about, if you think in talking about Asian Zen, the samurai, and
Mhm.
they learn, they practice and practice and practice, and once there wasn't a fight, they just stopped thinking and being themselves. Or I play guitar. Playing
Yeah.
guitar, you practice and practice and practice, and then you play. a solo and listen to yourself and says, wow, I wouldn't have made up that. That's great.
That's true.
Just listening to yourself, but just let it happen. And that's the same with language. If you're in a situation on the airport and police and hectic and you just want to talk, you don't want to think, oh, let me 1 second, let me please retire into my memory
so when you
palace and
use a
find the
word
word.
in a life-threatening situation, or when somebody teaches you a word in a quite awkward situation where you would have needed one but you didn't remember, you won't forget it ever again.
Someone described it, I forget who it was, who said learning is about sex, crime, and rock and roll, drugs, sex, crime, and drugs, because the more emotional it gets, the more the word will stick.
Yes, I totally think so. And maybe that's what holds many learners back from sheer repetition, because it sounds daunting. It sounds horribly boring for most learners. How do you work around this problem?
Well, to me, it's kind of a meditation session. So I have I don't like apps. I do everything with flashcards, paper cards. And I sit there with my coffee in the kitchen and enjoying my time and having my words and meditating with my words. And that's just, well, if you have to decide every day if you do it or not, you probably won't do it, but it is just what you do. Daily,
maybe the thing is that
like brushing your teeth.
Absolutely.
If you would have to decide every day, do I brush my teeth? Probably wouldn't do it. Just it's what you do every day. Have your half-hour meditation with your flashcard.
Yeah, it's very much like being in a bubble, excluding all the stress of the outside world.
Let the family explode or do what they want.
Yeah.
It's the me time.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. What I often do is practice kanjis in the same way, kanji characters.
Yeah.
And I usually take a calligraphy pen and I paint them carefully, the same word over and over again. But it's not just painting, it's not just practicing the form, but I always remember the meaning. I always say the word either silently to myself or loudly.
Yeah.
And try to create combinations, or if I remember one word, then I try to look for the same sound value with another character. So to link them up in any possible way.
Yeah, I think that's the how to do it. What is the best technique of doing something?
It's a holy grail of language learning. If there's a best method,
there is no. I don't think so. I do the same. I have the same thing. I have my box, and you could say learning vocabulary with the box is so boring. It's so. I once called it the brute force method, but actually it is no brute force. It is. It's way more playful. So you have words like torka and torko. Is there any connection between them? How do you distinguish them? And what is the difference? And why do you say kísérteti and kísértetés? How do they connect to each other? And so, or if I found out if there are sentences, I also learn mixed words, sentences, chunks, or doesn't matter, grammar altogether. And so if I don't get along with the sentence, it doesn't stick in my mind. Often it's because I didn't get something about the grammar. And so I have to find out what's the problem, and suddenly it works. And so it is lots of communication, of internal communication with the words, with the topic. And so
do you think you could let our listeners in on how you work with these exact examples? So there's torka and torko. How do you personalize these words?
It depends on the words. It's as I said first. The main idea is just repetition.
So the word and the meaning only.
Yes, and I for example, one very easy thing. I have here my flashcard, and it's there, Vergnügungspark, and I know it's Eelmeenpark.
Okay,
that is what here Eelmeenpark so works, and that's it. And so I do it for 21 days.
Right, but it's not only that, as you told me.
And then it's sometimes you have words that you have like Ulders and Utana added. What's the difference between those two words?
Yeah, so for those who don't speak Hungarian, these are very close synonyms.
Pihen, Kipihen Mogat, Lozit, Lozul, what's different. So you have to distinguish those words. You have to
Yeah,
get, and so you have to think about the words. You have to
sure.
compare them.
This
You
is
have
something I also
to
do, that I match up words that are easy to confuse.
yes. And I think it's not about how you do it or the technique. I think it's just about that you have to do something, that you are busy with you,
Mhm.
okay, now my English breaks down.
Okay.
Um, you just need to handle, to do something with the words. You have to be involved with them. I think that's the important thing about it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
and how you do it. I think, if you live in the United States, you learn English. I think it's a completely different way of learning English. You go to work, you go to the shop, and you learn English. And so if you are I in Germany learn Hungarian, it's a
Mhm.
completely different way because there's not much Hungarian going around here. So I have to develop methods to get to
Yes.
along with the language. But
So
so
create
or
immersion around
to
yourself.
create immersion, right?
Mhm.
Or if you start with a language, it's a completely different way of learning than if you try to reach C2 level, or
Definitely.
if you have much time, or you don't have much time. So it all depends on who you are, what's the circumstances,
Mhm.
where you live, and so there's not the way to learn language. I think what's important is that you enjoy. That would be good. That you
Absolutely.
enjoy to handle words, to handle sentences, just to be playful, to try things, and
Mhm.
just to care about the language, do something with it.
Absolutely.
And the more you are involved in that language, the more you will learn it. And
Yeah. Well, sorry to interrupt. So there are those people who are by nature passionate about a language. So I like,
yeah,
so even if there's no speaking partner, I'm completely fascinated by some languages and love to see how their structures are built up, or what synonyms I can collect. But I think very few people are like this.
hmm,
And most learners still don't understand what makes a language come alive. And to them, I would say it's personal connections, personal relationships.
yeah,
So for me, learning a language, and learning German in this case, is it also means that I get to know your world. So you tell me about your organization working for the spread of democratic values,
yeah.
and I hear your stories in your podcast, and I listen to that, and we talk about it. So for
Hmm.
me, it's what makes German interesting now is becoming a part of your life in this way and learning more about what you do.
Yeah, that's it. I could say the same thing about Hungarian. So it's a having to know you boosted my
Mhm.
Hungarian skills, and now again another boost was the political situation
Yes,
in
the
Hungary.
elections,
So
and you
the
followed it
elections,
closely.
it was suddenly I was able, and that's really important. That's what this Krashen Kaufmann gang always says. It's not about caring about the language, caring about the stuff that happens, that the language does. So
Yes,
if you can suddenly watch on YouTube what happens in Hungary, what if I you can listen to parliament debates, and uh,
true.
and that's thrilling. That's really thrilling.
Absolutely. So what is stunning about this is that now we have this option. So now it's become a standard that we can listen to YouTube 24 hours a day if we want, which wasn't
Yeah.
possible 30 years ago when you started learning Hungarian.
No, it was like Latin. Just I read books and that
Kind of.
was it. But if someone said Jona Kívánok, I had no
Mhm.
chance to understand it.
Yes.
Okay, I
Absolutely.
exaggerate.
And I was struggling in the same way with German, although I had access to sources. I didn't know anybody, and didn't know any books or films either that would have made it interesting for me. It was just a
Yeah,
language that I had to learn, and knew which I knew to be useful. And
yeah,
that was all. And only the sheer fact that we know that a language is useful for us, or we might get a better job, for example, if we speak that language, is not really enough. So that is why I usually encourage those students of mine who want to get better jobs to also establish a personal relationship with English as well.
I think that's what it's about. It's
Mhm.
what we talked about before. This Zen idea that you make the language part of yourself.
Yeah.
Uh, if you just think in terms of grammar, you have to learn, or vocabulary you have to learn, it is awful to learn a language like that. I wouldn't do that.
No, I
But
think so too.
to just, it's just like try to conquer a new country, a new culture with your mind, understanding what happens there, what makes it interesting, be there.
Yeah,
And
what makes it
that's
magical is when we go down
meet
to the
people.
level of individual people and
That's
establish these connection points.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
so
hmm?
I think that covers it more or less. So now I think it's time to go a bit deeper into how we learn vocabulary,
Okay.
because when we talked about it while preparing for this podcast, it seemed to me that we have diametrically opposed methodologies to learn this vocabulary. You said that yours was the brute force method, whereas my method is more laid back, centered on fun, and also. So my time, what with my son having been born, has become
Mm.
quite limited. So I try to look for 2 or 5 minute time windows when I can just do something useful.
Yeah.
And that is why I decided to rely on Quizlet for learning vocabulary.
Hmm.
But so most people, when they hear the brute force method, would be quite scared. But what does it actually mean to you?
No, it is absolute to me. I
And
called it once the brute force method, and you
now it
call it.
sticks.
It's your no. You call my method like this all the time, but I think it's not brute force to me. It's
Mhm.
absolutely relaxing and a nice thing. But I have to say that's true. I I have the good luck that I have plenty of time to do it this way. Not
Mhm.
everyone has the possibility to do it this way. That's the truth.
Right. How
So
much time
what
does that mean exactly?
I think 30 minutes a day.
Okay. Yeah,
So
sounds like an
sometimes more, but
investment.
that's my choice. Yeah. So what I do is I have, as I said before, I have this system of flashcards. I showed one card, and I have this box here. It was
Yeah.
an old smartphone box. There was a smartphone in it,
Okay.
in this box, and
Recycling is cool.
recycling is a great thing. It's a great thing, and it's a pretty black box without except of this sticker here. And so I have 21 wait, you can't see that, right?
Yeah,
I
now I
have
can. If you could lift it a
21
bit.
compartments here. Is
Mhm.
compartment the right word?
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. So 21, I have numbered then. This is number 21. I'm not sure if you can see that.
Mhm.
Maybe. And and I start here, and I put 5 cards. 5 is a good, but it depends in, and then I learn them every day. And when they have reached number 21, then they are done, and I know them. After that, I put them into some kind of a spaced repetition system, review them after a month, or after 3 months, after 6 months, and 1 year, to not forget them.
Right.
And I found out that with this method, they stick really good. It's because it's really the repetition thing, you know.
Can you show what happens to a single word? How you practice it?
Okay, so I start from here every day. First I learn the words I am very good at. That are the words that are finished, because then my mind is fresh. When I came on here, I'm a bit tired, so the learning gets weaker, and so I start here where it's
Right.
easy. And then I go through the box until I reach the words that are not so good, that are new. And first 5 words, if a word gets in, those are the words
Mhm.
I want to learn. And the time a word gets in, the first 5 days, some mistakes are allowed, as long the word goes into the right direction. Little mistakes when I
Mhm.
think, okay, so to get used to it. But after that, I allow don't any mistake. So to me it's important. So I learn sentences, I learn chunks, I learn single words. But to me it's important to force my brain to concentrate, because there are those things that, okay, it would have been nearly this, like something like ostisem bodjen abus, ostisem yön abus,
Mhm.
and you can say, okay, it's the same somehow, but it isn't. You have to force yourself to we talked about this before, Leleitmari and Busco Mojing.
Yes.
So you have to, it's the details of emotion that counts sometimes. And so if a word is wrong, I put it back five compartments.
Okay.
That's tough. Sometimes it's annoying
Yeah,
because
sounds horribly strict.
Yes, but that's the outer rules. But I have to force myself to concentrate. So if a word is, if there's a slight mistake in it, it's wrong. So I put it back. And in the end, from number 16 on, I have to know the word immediately without thinking, because I want to, if I talk, I don't want to think about the word. I want to know it. So, and if I see a word here and I see Lenken, that's Iranit. I have to know it like Lenken, Iranit, like this. If I have to think like Lenken, Iranit, it's too long. Okay, back 5 days.
Wow.
Again.
Okay.
And sometimes it happens that I'm not concentrated, I didn't sleep well or whatever, and then I have put it back 5 days. And because I learn in this direction, I come to this word again. Most time it's right then. Sometimes I do it wrong again. It gets again back 5 days. And it happens that at one learning day, a word got back 15 days.
Yeah.
More learning. And that's really, whoa, man.
Isn't that awful? So then it takes a long time until you work your way back to.
Right. And that's how I try to force myself to concentrate what I do.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
So what I found out one thing, but we talked about this before, and I told you I have to learn all the box at one day, every day. So, but that's not quite true. You can sometimes. I have no time, and then I learn just as many time as I have, and then that's okay as well, because then you have some yuk.
Okay, so there's a gap.
A gap, right? There's a gap, and so, but that's not a problem.
No, I don't think so.
So you can, and to me, but again, that sounds very strict. But what happens within this learning situation is that I think about the words, and there's a playfulness inside of that strictness.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not only checking the meaning of the words, but how do you play around with them?
Yeah, we've already talked about this. I think about how does this word connect to another word like Tarka and Tarko, and is there connection or not? Or if you have to distinguish Shemi Kazavon Hozar, Nakam Hozar, Shemi Kazash, stuff like that. So what's the difference between how do you distinguish it, or having a sentence and trying alternative ideas how to put the sentence, and so while learning, there's a lot of stuff happening.
True. Yeah, so it seems to me what you've constructed here is basically an offline application.
Which maybe, yes.
And you set the rules of this application as you like. You can modify them if it doesn't work out for you. And I think that's a very important thing to consider when learning a language.
That's really important. I modify them all the time. For example, this area here now is in the box for a couple of days, and I completely modified my system of. It's too much now. It's too much. But I modify it all the time because it's part of the game. It's a game. You see it. I see it as a game. So I set the rules that suit for myself, and I can work good with. And if they don't fit anymore, I change them.
Yeah, right. So as it seems to me, you're mostly focused on getting the meaning of the word right, and so learning the core meaning of plenty of words.
And I want to get them into myself in a way that I don't apply a word, so that I just do it. It's just part of myself, using a word, using a sentence.
Right.
That's what I want to reach.
Yeah.
So that's why I need this many repetitions in that strict way to force myself to get the word into my soul, not just into my mind.
Yeah, I find it totally meaningful, and I hope many listeners have found inspiration in what you've just said.
Maybe.
I've got another way of working towards the same goal. So as I said, I have very limited time at the moment. So I decided so earlier I try to balance out all the four skills so that I would listen to enough things, also read something in the language, and have enough time to write and speak as well.
Mm.
Then in my new life, I had to realize it wouldn't work. So I would
Mm.
just be overloading and frustrating myself. So I decided to pin down 2 or 3 main points that should happen every week and which don't require much effort. And the most important of these is the speaking session with you and with my Japanese friend.
Mm.
And I don't think about it as language learning. I think about it as catching up on the news and discussing some interesting
Yeah.
topics.
Yeah.
And if I have got more time, then I sit down for 15 or 30 minutes and write the text as well, which goes
Mm.
on to Journaly, which is a great website for blogging and publishing your blog posts and having them corrected by native speakers at the same time, from which also great discussions can open up. And if I've still got more time, then I try to listen to something and also run through my Quizlet vocabulary set. But in Quizlet, what I do differently than most learners is that I don't write the meaning of the word on the definition side, but an example sentence with a gap. And that example sentence should always come from my life or a story I've listened to or read.
Mm-hmm.
So I can immediately connect the whole sentence to the situation where I got it from. And I think that links up very well with what you said about learning whole sentences.
Yes. So do I understand it correctly? So you have a word like, I don't know, bus,
Okay.
and you write down the sentence. Yesterday was waiting for the bus, but it didn't come. And
Exactly.
so
And my
and
sentence
then
would
you
go
have to
like
put
this.
in the word bus to remember this special word.
Exactly.
And that's the way you learn the word.
Yeah. So it would look like yesterday I was waiting for the
Yeah.
and what goes into the gap.
That's great. Yeah.
And sometimes the gap is filled by a full word, so something like maybe the name of a feeling or the name of an object. But sometimes it's a grammatical word like auf or the an, zu.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
don't remember the fixed preposition that goes with the word.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would do. I wouldn't do the gap inside it.
Mhm.
I would put the complete sentence just in my box, learn the complete sentence, and hope that by enough repetition I get this word right. But I feel that's kind of a nuance. That seems this box thing seems more brutal, more strict. But I think in the idea behind it is quite close. It's
Yeah,
just
I
how
think so.
do something with words, do something with sentences,
Yeah.
think about it, think about meanings.
Yeah, and I think we are getting closer to the main conclusion that
Yeah,
so no matter how you learn the language, what's important is that it has to really fit into your life,
yeah,
and not just your main interests, but your mundane daily habits.
yeah,
Because there might be an activity which I love, but if I can't find the time in it on a usual Thursday,
yeah,
when I have to work and take the kids to school and maybe do sports in the afternoon as well. So there has to be a dedicated time slot for all of these things that I want to practice in the language.
yeah,
And if not a 30-minute or a 60-minute time slot, then those 2-minute touch points with the language spread out through the whole day.
yeah. Yeah, what I think is what is very helpful if you can do the learning on a daily basis. I think
Yes.
so. This is with all if learning an instrument or with learning something else. If you do one day a week, 6 hours learning, and then 2 weeks nothing, and then again 6 hours, nothing will stick in your mind. So if you have 5 minutes every day, it will have
Definitely.
way more effort.
There's an amazing
Yes.
book about that called Atomic Habits. Maybe you've heard about
Yes,
it.
I read this book. I
Yes.
read this book. That's cool. Yeah, but I think it's not just about habits. One thing is the habits. The other thing is really the way of how our brains work. It was on guitar. I play guitar. I already mentioned that if I try to learn something new. I do it the same way. I found it out somewhere that it's a good idea. It's some move I never did before, and that's hard. And so first day it's, oh my God, I never will learn that. Second day, oh my God, I never will learn that.
Yes.
Third day, I really just 2 minutes, 3 minutes a day. At the third day, I already realized that something changed. After a week, I nearly can do it, and after 2 weeks, I can do it. Not perfectly, but I can do it. And that's, I think, the first day the brain think, what's this? What does the guy want from me? And second day also, and the third day, okay, I have to care about this, says the brain. And so it starts to work on it while you sleep, while you're doing different things in the background of your mind. The brain is working on that problem. And so that's important. If you do it daily, the brain is working while you don't even realize that the brain is working on that problem
is true.
to solve.
And similarly, I also very often feel that while I'm studying something, I don't feel that I know it better. But afterwards, when I stop studying and start doing something else, I realize that those words are combinations are created in my brain, and my brain automatically keeps saying the word again, and it keeps it in the foreground of my thinking, builds sentences on its own while I'm mowing the lawn, trimming the hedge, going shopping, having a shower.
It's there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What I also experience is, if you learn something in a very strict way, there might be a situation when you, even if you do it even worse than ever. So it's like, it's this thing guitar or musicians know, you learn something, you learn a lot, learn some completely new concept, and suddenly you play so badly, it's you even stuff you have been played for years just doesn't work somehow, because the mind is just busy processing and can't concentrate. And then you wait, and suddenly everything is there.
Yeah,
that's
everything falls into place on its own.
Yeah.
So I think this is very important to bear in mind, and also that we should acknowledge if a method doesn't work for us. So there are so many methods being advertised on the internet nowadays, being advertised as the single best method that will work for every language learner. And
spaced repetition,
for example, spaced repetition being one of them. And I just find it horribly misleading. So I think the key is to acknowledge our own needs and to find the methods that would fit well with them. And we should say, if something doesn't work, we should take the courage, we should have the courage to modify those methods, or ditch them if they don't work at all, and try something completely new.
Yes, I once worked as a teacher, and they made a study, found out that the most important thing about learning in school is not the method the teacher uses, it's the teacher himself. It's the relation between the teacher and the pupils. That's what it's about. If the kids like him, they will learn from him. If they don't like him, he can do what he wants. They won't care.
So we've come back to relationships again.
And what did I want to say? It's not about a method. I think methods are a nice add-on, something you can use or not. But I think the important thing is the relationship to the language, to people that speak that language, to the culture, to the words, and just the playfulness. Do this, do that, try this, try that. Stick with it for a while, do another thing, try it, play with that language. And I think that's an important thing.
Yes.
It's not the method is the best. There is no best method.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Yeah. I think that's a beautiful note to finish on.
Oh.
And thank you very much for the conversation.
This is the end of our interview. Thanks for watching the episode till the end. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button. If you have any questions, then please drop them in the comments below. We will be more than delighted to respond. In the next episode, another interview about an interesting aspect of language learning is coming up. See you in the next episode.